Shri Thanedar, a Democrat from Michigan, just announced that he has filed impeachment articles on Donald Trump, and they are ridiculous, folks. We're going to break them all down. But first, here is a video of his announcement.
This is Congressman Shri Thanedar. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump. The court said the wrongfully deported Kilmer Garcia must be allowed to return and receive due process. Trump ignored it. He ignored the Constitution. He ignored the very checks and balances that keep our democracy intact.
Real damage to our country. So Shri outlines 7 reasons for Trump needing to be impeached. The problem with that, and I'm going to break them down right now, is that half of them are just lies, and then the other half of them are just not impeachable offenses at all. And so people, I kid you not, they're going to laugh in his face. Congress is not going to entertain this for a moment, especially even the Democrats. I mean, really, if there was a Democrat majority right now in Congress, they would not impeach Donald Trump under these articles. And they'll impeach him for like anything, guys. But these are so ridiculous. So with that, the first one is this is what it says: obstruction of justice and abuse of executive power, including denial of due process, unlawful deportations, defiance of court orders, and misuse of the Department of Justice. The problem with this is that this would generally be a civil offense. Like this goes for a lot of what he talks about, is that there's something that someone believes the Trump administration has done incorrectly. Therefore, you would sue the Trump administration. This happens all the time. This is not high crimes and misdemeanors like Hamilton wrote about in the Federalist Papers. It's got to be bribery, treason, high crimes, misdemeanors. That's how you impeach a president. Nothing in there denoted any of that. And so Shri is just straight up just throwing things in. But also, Shri says Trump disobeyed the Supreme Court. And the problem with that is it's not true. The Supreme Court did not say that Trump couldn't deport Abrego Garcia, the guy who went to El Salvador and got deported. What they said, they simply ruled that a district court, because the question really was, does a district court, a smaller court, have the authority or the jurisdiction on deciding this case? And what the Supreme Court said was, yes, they do. They didn't say Trump had to return Abrego Garcia to the United States. They just said the district court is the one that's going to decide it. So again, already Shri has been caught lying. The second one is this. He says, usurpation, I can't even say that word, usurpation, of appropriations power for dismantling congressionally established agencies and impounding federal funds. So this, of course, is Doge. He's saying that it is high crimes and misdemeanors to look at the government and to perform an audit of it and cut fraud and abuse. And what's really crazy about all of that, I mean, that I think that claim on its own is ridiculous. But what's really crazy about the optics of this is how Democrats are going about trying to protect the deep state. And they're doing it in the most open way possible, which is through, articles of impeachment. Shri is saying basically that he thinks one of the biggest reasons a president should be impeached is for trying to dismantle unconstitutional bureaucracies and limit the scope of government. He says that is an impeachable offense. Again, people are going to laugh at this. The third one, he says abuse of trade powers and international aggression, including imposing economically damaging tariffs and threatening military invasion against sovereign nations. This one's very simple. I actually agree that the tariffs are actually unconstitutional. That is very expressly a congressional, a legislature decision. It's not something the president can do. So I think that's just going to get struck down. But again, that's a civil offense. It's not something that's going to be impeachable. It's just simply going to be the Supreme Court is going to look at it, say, actually can't do that. It's going to have to be Congress, and then Congress can do it. The fourth one, violation of First Amendment rights through retaliatory actions against critics, media, and attorneys exercising constitutionally protected speech. Good luck with that one. Really, there's no evidence that I've seen that Donald Trump has jailed people for saying certain things. There's lots of evidence that Democrats have done that. There's no evidence that Donald Trump has done that. Ironically, Shri doesn't. This is kind of what's ironic about that claim, is Shri doesn't like what Trump says about the media or attorneys. And so what he's trying to do is censor Trump. So if anything, Shri should be impeached because he is trying to silence Trump. In any case, I find it very hypocritical. And you see this on the left a lot. They talk about free speech. They talk about how they need to limit someone's speech in order to protect free speech. It doesn't make sense. 5, creation of an unlawful office by establishing Doge and unlawfully empowering Elon Musk, Satan himself, to unilaterally violate the Constitution. Again, not impeachable in the slightest. This isn't going anywhere. The Supreme Court might rule that it's unconstitutional. I don't think they're going to, but not impeachable. 6, bribery and corruption involving dismissing criminal cases, soliciting foreign emoluments, and extortionate settlements for personal and political gain. This one actually is impeachable. This is like the only legitimate one because it's actually what Hamilton says in the Federalist Papers. Bribery. If a sitting president takes a bribe and then does policy based on that, which is, of course, what Congress does every single day, by the way, it is impeachable. And I'm cool with it. I think most people are. However, there's just no evidence for this. Again, it's just an accusation that he's throwing out there. There's no evidence at all. I'd be interested to hear it, but there's none. So it's not going to happen. And then, of course, the 7th final one, which is really the nail in the coffin for just ridiculousness. He says, tyrannical overreach, seeking to consolidate unchecked power, erode civil liberties, and defy constitutional limits on presidential authority. And again, this one is absurd to me. It is brash. It is bold. And frankly, it's a little offensive because Trump is trying to do the exact opposite of what Shri is saying. And Shri is trying to do the exact thing that he is accusing Trump of doing. The reason, guys, that we have 3-letter agencies in our country is because people in Congress like Shri do not want to be held accountable. That's why it exists. And basically what they did is they made bureaucrats who could not be elected or unelected. Because Congress is held accountable. If they make a decision, their constituents can come around and say, yeah, we're not going to reelect you. Bureaucrats, that does not apply to them. Democrats can just place people in the bureaucracy. They're never going to get unelected, at least until now, where Trump is trying to end that. But Congress doesn't like that at all. And because of that, it means they're going to be held accountable again, and Shri is trying to avoid that at all costs. So these impeachment articles are just dead in the water. Again, I do not even think a Democrat majority would even touch these because they're so stupid, so ridiculous, but it is fascinating to me to see Democrats spend all their time on this because it's just so childish. Like, again, if you have real evidence, look, I like Donald Trump. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. If you have real evidence that Donald Trump has done an impeachable offense, I want to hear about it. I really do. I want to hear about it. And I think we should impeach him if he has actually done something like that. But to bring up something so random like this, it's just a distraction. I think it's offensive to Americans. I think it's childish. It's the reason that Democrats are sitting at 15% approval below Donald Trump. Trump might not be the most popular right now. His approval rating has actually taken quite a hit after the tariffs. And obviously we could talk about if we think that polling is legit or not, which is, again, a whole other conversation. But in any case, Democrats are still sitting 15 to 20% below Donald Trump. And I think it's because Democrats can't even bring themselves to do something normal. When Trump's approval goes down, they go even crazier and they do things like this and they sink their own approval. I know a lot of you guys enjoy reading, and if you're looking for a good book, I wanted to introduce you to my book, A New Cult. It's up on the bookshelf over there. I talk about how the left has literally devolved into a cult, talk about some crazy stories. I know you'll enjoy reading it. I had a great time writing it. Go check it out right now. It's on Amazon, or you can go to the link in the description below. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like the video and subscribe to support me and the conservative movement, and you can watch another video right here.